What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece treasure cruise video. So treasure map is here. This is the final treasure map before the 11th anniversary, so make sure to go ahead and get your farming done so you can acquire some limit break materials, so that if you end up pulling some of these new characters or just any new unit, you know, on the upcoming big banner that's going to be coming up in May, you want to have the ability to limit break that character to get access to their potential abilities and also, you know, some key potential crewmate abilities. So you want to be doing this, you want to be playing, you want to get those rewards, because I mean, pound for pound, I mentioned this earlier in my stream as well, that like treasure map is the best game mode for the rewards that you receive for the amount of time that you invest into it. I definitely feel like it is that way, at least currently in the state of treasure cruise. So I would advise to farm this, get your materials, so it's going to make things a lot easier for you a little bit later down the line. So as for this first team here against Monet, we're going to be using the friend captain Tashigi against Monet and Virgo, obviously, no real surprise there. We're also going to be using Nami and Karina, very, very good character here, because Nami and Karina, or specifically Karina's special, deals with almost all of the gimmicks on the final stage, and because of the way that Tashigi works with the double special launch that she can provide, she can launch her special on stage 3 to get rid of the special bind, and then Karina basically deal with everything else, and we just need to generate some more matching slots for the team. So honestly, it's a really, really good setup with the way that things go, and also because we are using, you know, boosted units, and we have Nami and Karina captain, we actually get quite a lot of dupe items at the end of the run as well, and obviously gives us quite a good amount of points because of it as well. So that's going to wrap it up here for the Monet fight, and we'll pick things up once we get to the Battle Rush bosses. The first Battle Rush boss that we're going to be showing in this video is against Brownbeard. Brownbeard is a little annoying. They really want you to use Sober Mask for this fight, because you can use his captain action before reaching the final stage to basically avoid most of the gimmicks. However, it's not really required. We're going to be using Kuzan to wave clear the first 2 stages, and then we have the Bath Time Luffy to get around the burn debuff that we're inflicted with, and then also with the Rayleigh support, we can basically get around the bind and the despair. Of course, our captain has the slot bind, but pretty redundant, where we have a lot of other characters that can be used to deal damage against this boss. The second Battle Rush boss that we'll show off in this video is Rock and Scotch. Another relatively easy fight, all things considered. I do feel like this treasure map is actually one of the easier ones that we've had over the past few months. So this one's pretty straightforward. You are inflicted with bomb slots, and you need super bomb slots to pierce the barrier. There is attack down. They want you to use the free-to-play S-Bear. He does deal with everything in this fight pretty comfortably, but we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be using the Cat Viper strat, where we have the Hiyori, Cat Vipers, Dogstorm. We can just use the super types to wave clear the first 2 stages. We do also have Izo and Okiku, which I do use here to wave clear, and it also gives us a really good chain lock for the final stage. And then on the final stage, we can just use like a Cat Viper special, or a Dog special, or a Carrot Wander special, just to give us some type of buff, and then with that chain lock, we're pretty much good to go. The next Battle Rush boss is against Trafalgar Law. This one here is also pretty straightforward for us, as we're going to be using S-Snake Captain to basically deal with everything. We are inflicted with Despair, which S-Snake deal with. Our crewmates are inflicted with Special Bind, but it doesn't really matter because we don't really need to use our crewmates' special abilities anyway. And then we're going to be using the EX Super of Snake to get a full board of tandem slots. It also gives resistance down just to give us more damage. Zorajiro, obviously, for wave clearing. And then when we reach the final stage, you can just go ahead and use the Rush Suga special of S-Snake if you want. So later on down the line, when we need more damage, the Rush of S-Snake is going to help out a lot. But at least in the early stages of the treasure map, that's really not going to be required to get through this fight. And then the final Battle Rush boss, which is Caesar. Typically the 4th Battle Rush boss is quite difficult and has really annoying gimmicks, but Caesar Clown, honestly, pretty straightforward. So all we really need to do here is we activate the special ability of Carrot just to give us an orb boost, just to give us some type of damage, but then we can just kill. Like, that's pretty much it, because our supports help us deal with the rest of the gimmicks. In terms of the block slots used on our captains, we have the Brûlé support to help us get around that, and we are inflicted with stun on our captains. You want to find a way to get around that, which you can do that via a support effect that will deal like damage to you, or you can have a special ability that you can trigger from one of your crewmates that somehow reduces your crew's HP. And by doing that, it will allow you to get around that stun, which will then allow your Carrot Captain ability to activate properly, which allows you to bypass the enemy's barrier and the % damage reduction, so you don't actually have to remove it at all, because Carrot will just single-handedly bypass it anyway. And then, of course, we get to the final boss, which is Virgo. So this team has gone through a little bit of change from my preparation video that I showed off recently. So the way that this one works now is that we do have the Nami and Karina character on this squad instead of, who was it before? I think it was Carrot and Wanda to deal with some special reverse mechanics. So because of the special reverse that occurs on stage 2, we have to run some really weird stuff to make sure that, you know, I want to use Sober Mask on the final stage to make sure that we get his buffs. But realistically, you don't even need to do this anyway. You do need to deal with the special reverse on your crewmates, because that is actually kind of important. But Sober Mask's special isn't as important because we do have the Hiyori. If you don't have Hiyori, then yes, using Sober Mask's special on the final stage is going to be kind of important. So the super switch of Nami Karina plus this special support of the Strength Chopper will activate an end of turn healing effect, which is important because that will allow us to trigger the Monet super type. And because of that, we can then use her special ability, and it will allow us to get her buffs when we reach the final stage. We also can use Sober Mask's Captain action to avoid the gimmicks on the final stage, and then when we reach the last stage, all we need to do is use the auto trigger of Tashigi, which will happen again automatically, and then we can use the special ability of Tashigi and Sober Mask and Hiyori, and then boom, that's all you really need to do. S-Bear is only here because he's a relatively high point booster, and then the free-to-play Monet helps us deal with the Despair on stage 2. But that's pretty much it for me. Good luck for your treasure map grind. Hopefully it all goes well. Thank you very much for watching the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.